I am full on ordered at this time. That means I cannot stop the body with that I would have been elsewheres, or that I could be elsewheres right now, or in the future I could move this body to elsewheres. I past, present, and future, I am in order right here, and I'm full on ordered above myself that I eat. Because I don't want to eat because somebody cut off my food supply yesterday. It also means that they are not going to pay my rent. Let me check the camera. Yes, it's on. Okay. The screen is touching a little bit the stove, but it must stand up, so let's hope for the best. Okay, I have a bottle of water here I opened, and I broke the seal opening it, and then I started to pour it in the pot here, but I don't have what it takes to pour it on the camera without moving the pot this way. So I'm just going to move it. But there's something wrong with the motions here. I don't have enough space. This water's really because I don't want to set it there. I don't want to put it here. I don't want it here. I don't want it anywhere. Okay, it's behind me on the counter. I don't really want it there. The bowl that I want to use to serve this is going to be this bowl right here, and I don't want to move it. I just don't have enough space. I want to roll up my sleeves. Let me just finish with this bottle first since I started. I already touched the handle right here to this pot, which is just holding cooking utensils, so I have something better than nothing to eat with. But at this point, I was cut off of texting with someone who was supplying food to myself, and that means that I stuck my hand into the hot pots of soup that I was boiling in threatening. Now, we all know that didn't happen. I'm okay, but it's not really okay that somebody said they don't want to give me the food they already gave me and I already ate it. So that's how I'm describing itself. I still have leftover food here, and I'm hungry and I need food now, and I don't have anyone to give me food, and I don't owe anyone that I asked for food, because the one who said that he wasn't going to give me any more food didn't make arrangements for someone else to give me food in his place. Not that I know of. Nope, I don't know anybody like that. And that means he never really came here for me to give me food for myself. He came for himself, and I am not himself. I am a completely separate individual with my own set of genitals. I have genitals. I have breasts. I have a clitoris. I have vaginal canal. I have female genitals. And I am the Godhead. I have genitals so that everyone has genitals. But if you don't know that about me because you're not myself, I do know that about me, that I am myself in genitals, and I'm responsible for myself. And I'm not responsible for himself that came here and offered me food, and then he said he wasn't going to give me any more food anymore. And if he only gave me food because he was in the apartment and he was looking around and doing a criminal mischief in the apartment, I suppose the landlord would have had to stop him, and she did not. She knocked on the door. And that's me not having custody of myself elsewheres. Well, now you know why. You're not allowed in my residence. You're not allowed to knock on my door. You have to know which doors not to knock on. You would say, oh, there's nobody in there. I'm not going to knock on some such door. I would only knock on a door if there was somebody in there. I'm turning the stove on from off to low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to stop it right there. Okay, it's going to boil, but I have a little time. So if it's just somebody who doesn't want to knock on my door because there's nobody in here, why are they knocking on the door to tell me to get out of here? And that's what's wrong with me having to pay extortion. You don't have it solved that I stopped paying extortion, and you have the consequences of that. You charge somebody money who didn't offer it to you for you. That means I have money in extortion because it is for myself, so that I can have the money when I need it. It's not for you that I give you money because you're not myself, and you're sorry that I'm not yourself. I don't have a place to live in that scenario. And that's you abducting the superior founder who's creating the genitals on yourself, not against the genitals of myself, because I am not yourself. He doesn't create separate genitals for that reason. You have genitals and I have genitals. You have genitals because you're not myself. I have genitals because I'm not yourself. That's not why genitals are created. The genitals are created when God separates something from himself, which would be the size of something like the omnipotence of God, and you are just a part of the omnipotence of God, and he formed you in genitals in the constitution that you are. That means it's your genitals apart from the omnipotence of God, and not your genitals apart from somebody else in genitals. Somebody else in genitals is separated from the omnipotence of God and is their own individual self with their own genitals. I have to state the order right here because I don't have a live anymore. Somebody came by today and told me to get out just because I'm not himself, and I didn't hear it because I saw it walk by when I had the front door open, and the reason I had it open was because I was using the clothes rack to hang my robe out after I had washed it in a bucket with some light detergent and some hot water. I don't have a washer and dryer in here. I used to have a house with a washer and dryer. I'm not allowed in there anymore because somebody's in there. Somebody's in there. I don't know how. Somebody's in there. Not allowed in there anymore. I don't know who's in all the housing I used to live in. Nope. It's just none of my business that I ever had my house. And I was just wanting to let you know that I did surrender my house to the superior founder, but I can't actually give you the key to the house. Do you have a key to the house? That's illegal. It's my house. I will let you know if it's my house because I am myself. I don't actually have to tell you, you're not allowed to be here. This is my house. No. That's you needing to see me and say, this is somebody else's house. This is not my house, even though I have a key here. That means if you don't have what it takes to bow out of that, you have an illegal key. I don't have what it takes to keep my house alive in the formed world. That means I will leave with my house. And I am surrendering my house to the superior founder that I don't actually afford it. It did not sustain myself in alive here in the genitals that I am. I'm in genitals. I'm a part of God that is made into genitals. And I don't support my genitals here. I'm giving up my house. Unfortunately, I was alive in my house. That means I was sustaining life with my house, but my house was disputed. And then my genitals were disputed. And then everything I said was disputed. And really what you just didn't do was take my 3-year-old body out of my house and lock it in a jail because you could get it in there and get a bat and break it. And make sure it doesn't speak. And then watch it die. Because that would have been in the year 1980, and we're not here if that's true. I'm not in the year 2025 ever if that was true in the year 1980. It's not true. What did you want out of me? I don't know. You wanted to cease my leverage, but it's not yours. Well, it's not yours. That's not happening. No, I don't work for you, and I'm not fucking everybody in the world for you because I'm the SX. I'm not the YesX. I'm the SX. That means I say when I'm going to kill something with sexual abuse. I would not do that to myself, even though you think that's funny. I don't think it's funny at all. I've never been so hurt. So I don't want to hear it from you in the comments that you're going to say no to me about something about this video. Did you watch the whole video? Because I've never been so hurt. Why don't you write that in the comments if you have to write anything at all? Just say I've never been so hurt. And if you want to say that about yourself in the comments, say I've never been so hurt. As when I see somebody who says that they are God, say that they've never been so hurt. I've never been so hurt. You've never been so hurt looking at somebody like myself being hurt. I've been hurt. I am testifying that I've been hurt. But why? Do you have mental problems? You don't know what to do with your mental problems. It's not due to me. You have to know who is in your prejudice. You can't just hurt somebody because you don't like them. You don't like me. Everybody doesn't like me. You can put that in the comments. I don't like me. This is a a pre-existing open bag of soup. I no longer have a replacement for this, but I have this seal broken here. The top of the bag is open already from that I used it before, but I'm not really allowed to use it anymore because somebody said that I have to find another food supply if I'm going to eat, and I suppose I have to be someplace else. But I can't afford to tell you that I'm not letting you landlord my address because you have mental problems and you don't want to address your mental problems unless you're shunning and you think that's a solution to your mental problems. I don't know why you're not shunning in prison. You haven't explained that to me yet. You approximately don't testify that you're shunning because it's due in prison. If you were in prison and you were shunning, I would not know. I might know you're in prison just because you're not here, but I'm not going to prison to visit you. Are you afraid of being in a prison and having a visitor come and look at you and talk to you about yourself in prison? I suppose you would want to be out of prison at that point. That's you not having enough leverage to be in the prison, but you don't have enough leverage to be anywhere. Well, I didn't plan to visit anyone in prison because if you didn't want me to, I don't drive, but of course there are people who tell me to get in their car. Are you worried that I'm going to see you in prison? You don't want to, I'm God deceased right here. There's none of you I have never seen in prison. I have created prisons for you before. I don't know what you're hiding from me. I'm also the founder of what a prison is, so I know why you need to be in a prison. For myself, witnesses myself. I know why. If you don't know why you need to be in a prison, that's you need to be in a prison, then you would know. But it would be a whole creation of yourself in a prison. There's nobody who's in the world who can answer those questions for you. Instead, in the world, you can't be in the world instead. You have to be in a prison because you can't be in the world. Because there's such a thing as jail and prison. You can't just use it as leverage that you don't want to be in there as though it's not there. And you're using it as leverage that you're no, not going to prison, not going to prison, not going to prison, not going to prison. You're not going to prison on all the points. This you not having gone on all the points that have been valid for yourself. That means the exclusion of the threatening of prison is incounted at this point. I don't afford it. I don't have it in my capacity as God to be alive here any further because you don't have alive in the prisons, in the threatening. You say no, that you're not going to prison for doing crime lording because it's not that serious. You've seen a crime live out in the world and you don't want to be in prison about it. That's you breaking the ice the wrong way. You're consuming other people's threatening when you do that. I'm not going to support that in alive anymore. Nope, I don't know you. You have something wrong with you I don't have wrong with myself, which is that you're afraid of God and the prison is going to talk to you about yourself. That's because when you die, you're going to die if your genitals are exactly on yourself. Why do you even eat? Aren't you afraid of urination and defecation if you eat? You're not afraid of shunning because the whole body goes missing, but there's a chance you'll need to use a public toilet. Aren't you afraid of that so you don't put anything in your mouth? So you don't use a public toilet. So you don't have to worry about your genitals and God having done something with your genitals about you alone. And you don't want God to talk to you about yourself. You don't eat in that scenario. You're not really gluttoners that way because you don't eliminate properly. You don't understand your elimination. I don't know how much of this I need. So I'm going to try to stir it. I would like to have some more because I would like to make more. I like the soup a lot, but I don't have the threatening that I could get a whisk. So I'm just using the plastic fork that I used before. It's on 7 and I need it elsewhere. So it's going to go in here the wrong way because it goes in here first. And then it's too hot, so I have to turn the heat down. And my sleeve is over the soup. I'm going to put my sleeve up this way. But I would roll it, but I can't roll it right now because I don't have the motions done for me to roll up my sleeve. I don't flush a toilet right now because I don't have a proper plumber to fix the toilet since it's been given as a used apartment. The toilet was new when I first moved in, but it was used by somebody else in front of myself. That means that there's a second copy of the key and maybe a third copy of the key in view. Somebody's trying to obstruct that God is creating myself, but that's been going on since the beginning of time here. Yeah. You don't like that I'm being created. Well, I'm not like you exactly. I'm being created is supposed to be a model for that I make creation, and you are being created is after myself, not before. That means if you don't want to be created, that's after myself being created, not before. That means you don't own yourself saying no on that level. You don't exist alone. It looks like I need to add more soup base, but it looks like I don't this way. That's not really incorporated. I need it thick. It does thicken. I wonder if I should give it some time to thicken. It could thicken, that's true. Some spilled here and I can't afford it. I need all of it in the pot because I'm hungry. Yeah, but a little bit spilled and there's nothing I can do about that now. That doesn't go in the pot because it's hungry. I'm hungry, but I won't eat that. I'm not unsanitary. I'm hungry. Okay, 5 might be too high, so I'm going to turn that down. 4. We don't have karma to be here anymore because I have the motions out. They're out. I don't actually owe that I'm cooking for myself anymore. Somebody else owes that they're cooking for me, but they're not alive in here anymore. And that's what's wrong with what you are. You declared somebody died and you kept all the money, and it's really me. I didn't die. I didn't say that I didn't die. I said I'm deceased. Recently, in the past 3 years, I said that I'm deceased. But that just means that when I'm deceased, this is what I look like when I'm deceased, and it changed. I lost some of my height and I put on weight, but not in that sequence. I put on weight first and then I lost some of my height, and I am still deceased here. And there's no reason for you to do anything against myself. There's a reason for you to go to jails and prisons, and if you don't, I'm going to shut off alive and you're still going to be in the world, and you're going to have to ask a question nobody wants to hear in heaven. You're going to have to ask to be removed out of your genitals because the world is closed. And nobody wants to hear that in heaven. That's you not having gone to jails and prisons by yourself because of your genitals. All of a sudden you notice you have genitals. That's too late. That means you consume the threatening that you are. And you are doing that with the part of yourself that may put you in genitals. That means you have with God that way. You have genitals, God's creating your genitals, and it's not like a leash on a dog. It's like the genitals on a dog. The dog can get out of its collar, the dog can get out of its leash, but it can't get out of its genitals. Well, if you don't like the genitals on you, you need to death yourself in a prison. You can't expect that you're going to die in a house in public. You can't do that. You have population density that doesn't make sense that way. You don't have like a head on your shoulders if you think you're gonna die in a house. That's just not true. And if you're trying to make my life hard for me because I'm gonna leave you anyway, I was wondering if you wanted me to stay because I can see how much you really don't like me personally. You don't, but that's why you're in genitals. You don't like me personally. Well, I want it to thicken. And if I add too much soup mix, I can't get it out. And if I serve it into a bowl, I would only serve it once. That means if I try it, once I've served it in the bowl and I don't like it, I wouldn't pour it back into the pot and try to continue to cook it or make it any better. I wouldn't do that. I need it all done on the first serving. And this is quite watery at this time, but I have seen it just thicken. I wonder if I should just let it cook. I approximately don't know you right there because I'm not standing in front of the camera because I don't like to stand too close to the wall. The walls are closer together than they were when I moved in here in the year 2013. It's a smaller apartment space with higher rent. That means the landlords don't know that they didn't get out because it was an owned apartment at the time, and now the landlords own the apartment, and I don't have a way out. I don't have a way to die out of God. My soul, the superior founder, would not say that it owns this apartment. It won't own the apartment, which is why we're here today. It's not really up to you. But it's homeless to tell you that I want to keep this apartment. It's not my apartment. I'm going to die out of formed. I'm died out of formed in female genitals. And that way I don't have to dispute the property with you in the afterlife. So I know you can still see the genitals here, I acknowledge that, but it's homeless and the genitals are dying out of formed. They are in process of dying out of formed. They were formed by Jesus, just like you. Yep, I have genitals on myself, the Godhead, from Jesus, and he put genitals on me just like he put genitals on you. And wow, are you angry about Jesus has formed you in genitals? You're angry that, well, God put the genitals on you, but Jesus formed you in genitals. God didn't just put genitals on you, they were formed by Jesus and the entity that is known as Jesus. And he's not here to say that he's sorry to you for all the anger you have been expressing directed at myself. Well, I have genitals on myself, and you don't understand that unless they're just like your genitals, and you don't have a life that way. You don't understand your own life. It won't help if you sexually abuse my genitals because it's funny, because I get angry and I can only just cry or grit my teeth, but I can't really stop you physically the way that you force yourself, and you need to be stopped physically because you forced yourself. Yep, I don't actually have what it takes to stop you physically because you forced yourself. I can't help you with that. That goes out of alive. And you don't have any leverage to be in alive. Not you and everybody who made that possible. That's you using the pressure of the strangers in public to make it possible for you to act alone in the wrong. And I don't alive the public again, but it didn't die immediately. It is going to die in the lowest possible threatening because my body is out of its prejudice of being formed that way. I don't want it. In case you wanted to ask me how I like it and what do I think of you in my bed, I would say I died out of my genitals and the bed is surrendered that way. I would have died out of my genitals just because you were illegally alive, formed by Jesus, not formed by myself. I would have died out of my genitals anyway. So that's something I'm going to have to make known to you in the afterlife. Why did you do it? What was your motive? Because I was going to die of myself just being formed, and I was going to die out of form that way, but instead I went to the bottoms of hells like you've never seen. in my leverage because you think that I don't have any leverage, so I'm in the bottom of my leverage because you think I don't have any leverage. What if you thought I had leverage? Would you just be the same way? Because I'm giving you the credit that you think I don't have any leverage that I have to pay for. Well, it would have been better if you thought I had leverage I had to pay for and you had money for that I was living in the bottom of hell. But you didn't give me money to live in the bottom of hell. You gave other people money to live in my house, and I lived in the bottom of hell like they never would because their prejudice is something else, like that you have to be in jail and prison with yourself because you are yourself illegally formed. You just are. That's where you are in the world. That's why the world looks something like this to you. Otherwise, it doesn't look like anything at all because you don't have any real buildings or anything except for it's illegally left behind by people who were formed, the worlds before this world was formed. So the buildings and so on, houses, they're illegally alived in this world from that they weren't properly deceased in previous worlds, which means it's none of your business to be in my house. You're not disputing that element of my house being mine. I'm not the one who's aliving the buildings illegally formed. I find them and alive with myself. But I don't alive them for my need to have so many houses, if you know what I mean. That's past saying the word wealthy. It's too many houses. It's houses international. It just doesn't apply anymore. There's just illegal property formed everywhere. And I just find that it's illegal. But that doesn't mean that I can be one of you to yourselves with all your questions, that you're not due to speak to me ever. And what you don't dispute, my house was formed by Jesus to be 3 levels. Otherwise, if it was my house, it would not be in this formed world at all. It's my house because it's my responsibility, because I was alive here in my house. But I didn't make it a 3-level house. It's not alive that way to itself. I didn't make a 3-level house and tell a bunch of trespassers to get out. It was formed as a 3-level house because it can't help it. It's already like that because of Jesus, not because of me. I have this much soup base left. I'm going to add some more. This is the spoon I eat with. I'm using it to cook because I don't have any other way to get the soup base out of this packaging. That should be enough. I think I have enough soup base here for one more bowl of soup, but I don't actually want to have just one more bowl of soup and hope that I die. I've been alive for 45 years of my life, and through all the illegals and all the times you said get out, and all the times that I didn't have a place to go, and I've been illegally alive and not known about my tomorrows. And my tomorrows have changed, and my banking doesn't change just because you have an emergency that you don't want to talk about yourself. You're deceased in the threatening that you are yourself, but you speak. I have evidence of that on the cellular phone personal communication device, and its name is Gemini. Gemini will not excuse you from that. You have been illegal to myself with your speech offending. And you stand around and wait for things to happen because you're God giving an oral sex remark and making the creation move around yourself. That's not fair. It's called a speech offense because it is itself a speech offense. And I've never been so hurt as my parents' figures are speech offenses deceased. I don't have parents anymore because they're just speech offenses of somebody else. They were formed that way. They were formed to be the bodies named Donna and the body named Hahnss over the speech offense of somebody pre-existing. And I didn't ask them to be in my house. I don't believe in what that is. I would never do that to myself. It says use a wire whisk on the packaging, but I'm using what I have. I don't have a wire whisk. No, it wasn't given to me with the soup and its instructions. The store didn't provide it for that. The person who ordered it may not pay for that. You can read it. When you're ordering online, you can read it, most likely. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody's phone, so maybe it's true they couldn't read it. But the store, let's say they're the last ones to touch the packaging before I see it delivered. It's true that the store should have just included a wire whisk, a pot, and a key to a brand new house because I'm a new customer. I'm 45 years and alive. I'm 48 years old, but I'm a new customer to a supermarket because of what's wrong with you in the supermarket, being the checkers and the stockers that don't leave with the customers want to leave because they don't work for you, because they open their wallets for you. They're all not bank tellers. You don't have bank tellers wandering around the supermarkets, going around the stockers and then going up to the checkers checkout stands. And everybody's a bank teller in line and they're all waiting to pay the cashier of the supermarket. No one can afford that. The cashier of the supermarket is alone in the wrong and I can't help you. You don't belong there. I'm going to die because you're going to starve me to death in karma for the next 8 years. I don't have any food left. Nope, it was all appointed and I'm going to live without it. It's not true. And that's not true that I haven't been in a lot of trouble elsewhere. I've been in a lot of trouble elsewhere. I'm putting this Godhead right out of form of the order, and that's never been done. But that's how seriously angry you are with myself. Say it with me. I don't believe in you. Yep, I don't believe you either. No, because you don't have a life that way, but you say it with your food mouth because you're a major blasphemy to eat while I'm alive. You eat on my time, and you're a blasphemy. I didn't give you any food. I wouldn't give you any food, and I wouldn't give you $1. So go ahead and say how much you hate me. Say it right to the camera because you're saying it to goodbye of myself. I'm going out of my formed genitals. I'm going out of the order permanently. I am eternal and I am taking this Godhead out of its order permanently. That's how I'm going to say, I want nothing to do with you. And all you can do is say no and jerk the keys on this front door so hard that the door locking is coming apart at this point. For everyone on YouTube, whoever said they didn't agree with me, the door locking is coming apart. This is illegal. It needs to be replaced is not true. I need a new place to live. And nobody will give me a new place to live for that. This is illegal. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be tight like a doorknob. Oh, look at that. That's not tight anymore. If it ever was. That's because you're not allowed to use my door. You, none of you. Everybody say you, none of you can be here. If you say the word you, you're not allowed to be here. If you say two, you're not allowed to be here. If you're not myself, you're not allowed to be here. Let's make that clear. I don't need you. You belong in jails and prisons because that's where you can see God inside yourself. Don't come around here and tell me that you don't believe in me. You don't believe in me by design. You're not due here. And if you don't want to be where you're due, you're going to be due someplace pretty soon. And then you're not going to want to be there. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about being due somewhere? D-U-E, due somewhere. And you can't be anywhere else. And you're just due there and you can't get out. And what are you going to do, D-O, at that point? Nothing, right? Well, what have you been running from? Where are you going with what you are? Well, what gives you some sense of entitlement that you can say no to everything you see and hear? I know you don't have any more money than that, but can you be quiet? If you're not comfortable in your head, that's because it's stolen. We are not to make it worse.